She's on the
money.
She's on the money.
All right, so this is the DM we got. Help, my fiancé and I have seen a financial advisor who's recommended we add my name to his house title, which is his asset, and open a joint share portfolio with my savings. I've got about $100,000 that we both keep contributing to. I don't want to add my name to the title. I'm a dual citizen and it can mean I have to pay capital gains tax on the house if we ever sold, and also cuts me off from the first homeowners grant in the future. After listening to so much financial advice to protect yourself, it feels uncomfortable to put his name on my life savings. But we're also getting married soon, and to keep it separate doesn't sit right either. What would you recommend?
Oh, there's lots to unpack there, isn't there?
Oh my God, what would you do, Jess?
I think, so the first thing that jumped out is the comment that you'll have to pay capital gains if you sell a house. I believe anyone would have to pay capital gains on the profits.
You do. It's a little bit different if you're a dual citizen, though, because you've got international tax to take into consideration. So you are not wrong.
Yeah.
But it also is a little bit deeper.
A little bit different.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I would say, have you said this to your financial advisor? Because from my understanding, a financial advisor is going to look at your situation, give you like their opinion on, well, this is what I would do if I was in your circumstances. But you're well within your right to say to them, oh, thank you for the advice. I'm not, like, you know, exactly what you just said to us. Like, I am not, like, I don't want to waste my opportunity to take advantage of first home buyer grants. I, you know, ideally would like to keep my savings independent, but perhaps, or my investments independent, or perhaps he's recommended putting his name on it. I don't really know. Maybe there's some benefit tax-wise or something like that. I don't know how that works. I'm not a financial advisor, shocking.
I was.
But, you know, you can have a conversation with them, I would say, and say, hey, like, what are my other options? I don't like X, Y, and Z. Can you give me an alternative? Like, it's not as if they lay down the law and that's it. They're giving you their best recommendation, but they're also like, they will operate within the framework that you provide them. So if you hadn't said to them at the beginning, we want to keep our assets separate, their recommendation's not going to take that into account.
Yeah.
So I would say just go back to, unless for some reason you were unhappy with them or their advice, I would say go back to the same advisor and tell them exactly what you told us and get them to do a different workup for you.
Yeah. I'll just be really honest. As an ex-financial advisor, this question makes me really uncomfortable. And the reason for that is I feel like you haven't been listened to. And you know, by the time you get to your SOA or like your statement of advice and your financial advisor is putting all of your recommendations on the table and going, all right, Jess, this is what you guys should be doing, or like this puts you in the best possible position. I should know you so deeply. Like I should be talking to you, Jess, about like your thoughts, your values, what you want to achieve. Like your financial advisor relationship, I would say, is one of the, you know, this is maybe just not how other advisors work, but from my perspective, it's one of the most intimate relationships you'll ever have, because I'm going to talk to you about a lot of things. I'm going to talk to you about your budgeting, great. I'm going to talk to you about investing. I'm going to talk to you about your savings. I'm going to talk to you about your superannuation and your insurances. And doing all of that touches on lots of different life aspects. So when I do your insurances, I actually need to ask you a lot of deep questions about your medical history. And to have the best and the biggest impact and to put you in the best possible position, Jess, you've got to be comfortable telling me. You've got to talk to me about whether you broke your knee in grade 12 and had to get like a pin in it. I need to know if you've had any very serious sexually transmitted diseases. I actually, for some people, and I still think this is quite backwards, if you are in a same-sex relationship, I actually need to know a little bit about how much you've been sleeping around. Like your insurance application form asks. And because I'm your advisor and I don't ever want you to submit an application that's not complete, or like you might see a question and be like, oh, that's worth skipping. I don't really want to give them that answer. It could mean an instant decline. So back when I was an advisor, I would sit with every single client and do your application together, even though it was arduous and honestly kind of boring. Because girl, I actually don't care about your sexual history. I really don't. It's none of my business. And like, you do you. But I need to know these things to put you in the best possible position. So the fact that I get to ask all of this. I also get to be like, hey, Jess, low-key, like, do you think you'll ever divorce your husband? Hey, so what's going on here? How do you want to set this up? You know, are there any inheritances that you might be getting that I need to structure a trust for in the future? Like, we're asking some pretty deep questions. So I should know you.
Yeah.
I should know what would make you a little bit uncomfortable. I should have already asked about your savings. Jess, if you're saying you've got $100,000 in savings, girl, how did you get that? What happens? What's your intention? Why did you start saving? Was it because you wanted your first home? And have I asked if you wanted to do that on your own? Even if you've got a husband, you can still go get your first homeowner's grant and buy your first apartment on your own. Doesn't mean you're moving into it. It might be an investment for financial security for you. So the idea that your advisor has made advisements that you're like, oh, I don't really feel comfortable with this. Also, sorry, how does your future husband feel about putting the house in your name? Like, do not get me wrong. You're about to get married, which means that your finances are likely legally going to become intertwined. But we could be talking here about a binding financial agreement, going, okay, cool. You're both coming into this with separate assets. They're called premarital assets. If you get a divorce, if this doesn't work out, what's he taking versus what you're taking? Could we get on the same page about that? The idea that we're just quickly labeling it and lumping it all into one thing makes me relatively uncomfortable. You're also not on a level playing field. Like, you've got $100,000 in savings, but he actually owns an existing house. And I'm assuming that, you know, maybe he bought it a few years ago. There might be more than $100,000 worth of equity in that property. Like, are we comfortable with this? Like, I could have made that recommendation as a financial advisor, and we're not saying it's wrong. But I would never want a client to see that recommendation on paper and either be surprised by it or not feel comfortable with it. It would be a recommendation where I've gone, oh, what if I've already asked the questions. You're already comfortable with it before we've come to the conclusion of getting it on paper. And I mean, you're not wrong. You are a dual citizen. This changes tax. It also stops you from accessing the first homeowner's grant. It makes me wonder if you're saying that you can't access that. I don't know. This is just making me overthink, Jess. But like, if you're saying, oh, that means I'm tapped out of that. Sorry, is property a priority for you? Accessing that grant, was that a priority for you? Why isn't your advisor planning around that? I don't know. I just feel like there's been a few things that have been skipped over. I can't make any recommendations of what you should do because obviously I can't, but my recommendation would be get more advice or talk to your advisor. I don't think you're being selfish here. I actually think you're being really smart. Like, financial vulnerability, it's never romantic. Like, there's nothing sexy about it. And protecting yourself doesn't mean that you don't love your partner less. We need to put ourselves in the best possible position. Jess, that's why we exist as a business. I guess think of it as future you saying, thank you for being thoughtful today. Thank you for being thoughtful today. Like, I don't know. I feel uncomfortable with the idea that you're not comfortable with advice that your advisor is giving you.
To play devil's advocate, and I agree, like, you are so well entitled. And I think we all know I'm the biggest proponent for saying protect your own assets, look after yourself first. Like, I'm not saying that's the wrong choice. But I also think it would be worth asking your advisor why they gave you the advice, because it may be that—
where'd this come from? Like, is it more advantageous?
Correct. My assumption would be that they made the recommendation to do that for a reason. So maybe, like, if they were to say to you, oh, well, it's because you're a dual citizen, and so by doing X, Y, Z, you can alleviate this. Or like, as I said, I don't know what levers and pulleys there are because I don't know enough about that world. But there may be a reason they've made the recommendation that you're not aware of. So talking to them before going, oh, I need to get a different opinion, I think would be quite worth it.
When I was an advisor, like, don't get me wrong, you didn't know everything that was going to be in your SOA because I hadn't sat down and written it yet. But the surprises that were in your statement of advice, like when you sat down and I presented the advice to you, would have not been, oh, we're going to invest. You already would have known that that's kind of going to become a part of the plan because we're having conversation about it. But the surprises would have been which ETFs I'm picking for you or which direct shares I'm picking for you. Or, you know, we knew we were going to do your insurances. We just don't know who we're going with. And your statement of advice would have the insurer, I think, that we're going with and the plan for it. You know, if you're planning on saving for a property or whatever, it wouldn't be about, you know, oh, you should save for a house. And you go, oh God, I didn't know I could do that. Like you knew that was going to be part of the plan, but I've actually done the finances for it.
Yeah, that
your
makes
statement of
sense.
advice has the time frame when this can happen, how much of your budget is being allocated to this, what that actually looks like. Your statement of advice, and I used to say this to all my clients, there should not be surprises in here. We have talked about everything. And if there are surprises in here, I haven't done my job properly. Like I have not held your hand enough through this process.
Yeah.
And so maybe I was overkill. Do you know what? Sorry, you're paying me. That's my job. I should be overkill. And I feel like that's what we should be expecting if you're going to pay for financial advice, because it's expensive, right? I feel like we have yapped about it for ages, but yes, we could talk about how to maybe we do an episode at some point on how to integrate your finances. Like if you've decided to go all in, what that looks like.
I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah. All right. So first question we asked was, if you were given this advice, what would you think? 50% of you are with me, get a second opinion. 24% of you said, good in theory, probably messy in practice. 14% said, I wouldn't be doing it. And 13% said, yeah, it makes sense to join everything. The next question we asked was, how would you want to handle assets pre-owned before marriage? 47% said, whatever benefits us most financially. 31% said, whatever gives me the most protection. 13% said, keep everything separate. And 10% said, just join everything. We're married. And then my favorite part, we said, guys, what is your 2 cents? And I have collected a few of your responses because as it turns out, we had a lot of opinions. There were hundreds of replies on this one. First person said, laws change. Look at California house laws on splits.
I don't know what that means, but
I laughed at this one because like we have been trying so hard, Jess, to gain an international audience. We've got one. Thank you for contributing, adore, but that's not going to help because this listener's in Australia.
but they're right. Laws can change. That's absolutely true.
But yes, absolutely, laws can change. Also, I just was like, oh my God, like we're getting this international audience who are giving like good advice, but also not relevant in this situation, but please keep giving it. Next person said, assets don't lose or gain value with an extra name on them. I wouldn't be trading security for tradition. Loved that. Next person said, divorce rates are over 50%. Divorce rates are currently over 50%. Keep control of everything that's yours, irrespective of what you love and don't. Next person said, never make a decision if you're feeling uncomfortable. Trust your gut and go get a second opinion. Someone said, I've been happily married for 10 years. We actually still have all of our assets separate we actually still have all of our assets separate, but we have some joint expenses. This just shows me everyone's money is different. Like there's never a financial plan. Like I could give you, Stephen, my financial plan and you could be like, in the bin. Like I'm not doing that. And then on the flip side, someone else might be like, oh, I'm doing that, but we're going to tweak X, Y, and Z. Like there's no one size fits all, which sucks because I could make a plan and sell it to you guys for heaps of money. But I can't.
Personal finance is deeply personal.
Exactly. Next person said, couples are a team. You can both benefit as a team while still protecting each party, which I think is important.
I agree with that take.
So like if your financial advisor is recommending that you put each other's names on things, your husband to be should be as comfortable with either doing that if you both want to do that or not doing that and going, no, I want to protect Jess. Like, no, like she needs her stuff too if this doesn't work out. Green flag immediately. Next person said, hope for the best, plan for the worst, protect your finances. You will know how things will go. And then the last one I laughed at, maybe because like women are seen to be a little bit more touchy-feely. She said, girl, go get a female financial advisor.
Honestly, yeah.
Go see Daisy at Everest Wealth. She's very popular in our community. And you know what? I agree. Like the amount of, and I'm not saying that she's the only financial advisor and that you have to have a female, but like, sorry, if you want a female, Daisy and the Everest Wealth girls, I would say slay. All right, Jess, I feel like that's probably a good place to leave it. As always, if you haven't subscribed, please do so that you never miss an episode. And we'll see you bright and early on Monday morning for a money diary.